right.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the RB universe. You know, you missed us as much as we missed y'all. We're about to get into it with this most annoying plot trolls by Alama Sama, Alama bin Laden. What is his name?
Well,
Alama
you
Sama.
said it right the first time.
I said it right the first time. My bad.
Good job.
So, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that like button if you want more laughs. Come and visit us, and also buy my book, please. It's only 99 cents, dang near free. And of course, if you love romances and it gets, the little tug on your heart feelings and whatever, maybe you drop a little gangster tip, go ahead and give it a read. And it's a very short story, and there are more to come. But like I said, we're about to get annoyed because apparently we was already annoyed.
But yes, this is by Olama Sama. You've seen us react to this person before. Of course, as always, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you guys don't miss any of our videos. And if you don't want to see our reactions, the original video is in the description. So that being said, let's do this.
It's good.
Why would you do that?
I clicked. First, we're gonna start with Luffy. No.
Oh shit! Oh dang! Dang! Oh shit! Yo, there's no way she's alive.
Hey, don't move.
Roll that intro.
Well, at least we know what he looked like.
Hey.
When consuming any form of media that has an ounce of story, there will obviously be some narrative elements to make the story more compelling. After encountering enough stories, you'll start to notice certain patterns being used across a multitude of series and genres. Things like the assembly of a team or a character searching for a treasure are all common patterns seen in many narratives. What I've just described to you is a plot trope, and there's a whole lot of them that we see, but it would be a bold-faced lie if I were to say that every trope was good. So in today's video, I want to talk about the tropes that I, and likely other people, find very annoying. And as we work our way through the video, the tropes will get more egregious and challenge my suspension of disbelief to the fullest. There will be no manga spoilers, but anime spoilers are going to be in this video, obviously. With that being said, we're going to start off with tropes that bring some minor annoyances, fairly trivial stuff, but worth mentioning. And the first one is the infamous line, "He's right behind me, isn't he?" Which is just a meme at this point. It's been a staple line in so many TV shows and films for years, and there was a time when the line was actually funny, but that time was like 15 years ago. It doesn't really bother me when I hear it in a movie or see it played out in other settings, but it can be really funny when it's used unironically as a joke in a comedy movie. I think nowadays, the trope is better when the character doesn't even say anything and they just have a look of doom and despair on their face. It's just funny to see how funny a face a character can make when they're caught lacking. This Lex Luthor panel gets me every single time because he knows better than anyone else the gravity of the situation. The Henchman and Spider-Man games also just look hilarious if you pause the game while you're fighting them. And I don't blame them at all. We'd all have this face if we knew Spider-Man was about to cave our souls into the pain. But I think we can all agree that Bleach is the king of these types of shots, and they honestly never get old. Besides that, there's not really much else to say aside from the trope being extremely played out. Another trope I see people have a problem with is the whole idea of the MC or a majority of the main cast being the chosen ones or some legend from prophecy, and I can understand the frustration and agree with it a bit. I think this comment brought up a good point about how the whole trope can low-key shift the trajectory of a character's journey. In the cases of Naruto and Luffy, we saw them grow and learn how to control their abilities they were given from a very young age, and it felt as if they were cleverly developing new strategies and abilities reflecting their growth as a character. But when you learn that they secretly had some overpowered fruit of legends, it kind of feels a bit watered down. Imagine if we knew Naruto was the son of the Hokage, had amazing clan traits, and was the child of prophecy from the very beginning. All of those trials and tribulations would feel less character defining because you'd expect him to win everything. However, I do think the trope is realistic in a sense. The trope can work because we're following the success story, so certain conveniences have to be expected when it comes to a character's progression. Naruto is trying to be Hokage, so although it may seem a bit BS to have him have all these favorable genetics, I kind of have to believe it. You typically do need some type of X factor to get you to the top. Same thing goes for Luffy when trying to find a One Piece, or basically any character that has a lofty goal. I also feel as if the writer has a large influence on how well a plot point like this can affect the story, which applies to most of this video. I'm just stating the obvious. Luffy still had to work to actually unlock these legendary abilities and whatnot, so in a sense, it still feels like all of the extra powers and implications of this special fruit were earned. The chosen one trope is a case of something that I've grown to accept a lot more over time as something that's low-key necessary depending on the story. Alright, now we're gonna start getting into plot tropes that are low-key dumb as bricks. These are tropes people typically identify as a stupid plot point. It's weird though, despite the widespread complaints, you'll see these tropes more often than not. The first of these tropes is the classic case of the villain monologuing long enough to allow the hero to escape. I feel as if we don't see as many egregious cases nowadays, but they're prevalent in some manner. People have already talked about how stupid this trope is, and I share a similar sentiment. Like, I get that it gives the hero an opportunity to make a comeback and win, but it's not even as if these
Tony
villains are
Baker
saying
makes
anything
fun of this
particularly
shit so
interesting.
much.
It's usually some unfounded arrogance that they're expressing. Half of the time, they're just explaining their plan in great detail, believing it's foolproof. It makes it even worse when the villain actually wants to murk the hero and they just start talking, which objectively puts them in a worse position. The hero now knows everything about your plan, so if they're smart enough or, you know, have enough plot armor, they're going to be able to escape. The only argument I understand is when arrogance is a villain's primary trait and they want to embarrass the hero before their defeat. Another may be that they want to prove the hero and their convictions wrong before they kill them. But still, it makes little to no sense to give a chance to someone you know can be the biggest obstacle to your goals. This trope only works when the hero and villain are debating ideals to make it more realistic. Like when Green Goblin and Spider-Man are yapping, it makes sense for Goblin to not murk Peter off rip because he's offering him an opportunity at a partnership. Aside from these cases, this trope just really should not be done in any serious movie. Okay, this next trope was one of the more notable ones, especially when it comes to tropes that people don't really like, and it's the power of friendship. And I'll be honest, I really don't think this trope is as bad as people say it is. I see this trope get a lot of flack for being overused, but I low-key think it's kind of realistic. The power of friendship is essentially when a character is able to win a fight because of the bonds of their friendship. I don't know if I'm crazy, but this is...
We don't hate the power of friendship, okay? It's just that in some animes, y'all use that shit entirely too much. And what I mean by that is when you are in a situation where you know damn well you should be dead, but the moment the power of friendship happens, you are just fine and you can keep going. As cool as that sounds, it's not realistic.
At all.
I don't give a fuck. And quit showing Yu-Gi-Oh, okay?
The harder the cards.
Yeah, yes, the harder the cards, not the power of friendship.
Yeah, you're right.
Like shit, it's the harder card. Quit showing Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, cool. Yeah. I say play it again, nigga.
My bad, my finger slipped.
Like, like
Now I was trying to make sure I was on the thing too.
Like, damn, like, bro, the power of friendship. We don't hate it, but clearly the main thing that because the power of friendship don't get flack, it's what anime it's used in. Like prime example, Persona. That's the perfect way to use the power of friendship because you get stronger through bonds. That's a perfect way on how the power of friendship can actually work in your favor and make sense. Whereas with Fairy Tail, you facing this strong ass mage that can fucking tear your head off in seconds, but as soon as you think of your friends, oh, I can fight back now. No, sick of it.
Can see possibly happening in real life. I feel as if the power of friendship is sort of like when you have a crowd behind you to support whatever you're doing. Assuming your friends aren't there to clown you, if all your close friends are there to help you with something, would that not make you feel a bit more energized? Now, I'm not that delusional. When you're getting a power up strong enough to start boxing up the person who was previously shrugging off your attacks, you're getting hit with the power of friendship allegations, because that's BS. Shonen anime are typically guilty of using the trope in this manner, but it makes sense considering those series are meant for a younger audience. There are also some cases where the trope is handled correctly, where the close bond between two characters can help them push through certain trials and tribulations. I don't think this trope is particularly bad, but it still gets the side eye from me a lot because a lot of series use it so blatantly and don't even try to disguise it. Next trope I want to talk about is when characters hold back against their opponents. Dragon Ball characters are guilty of this one a lot. And let me be real with y'all, Dragon Ball fried my brain because I kind of understand why they do it so often. You can't just crush someone immediately with full power. You don't go on a track and run a race immediately at 100%. You can
But in the devil, man.
Like if you know you're better than someone at a game, you gotta drag it out a bit so you can have some more fun. Really need to gauge their power band, show off while you're at it too. There's also a bit of mystery to a character when you know they could just violate at any moment. And plus, a lot of characters who do hold back do have a pretty good reason in doing so. I mainly refer to superheroes when I say this, as most of the time they have a stricter moral code and don't want to murk anyone. Take Spider-Man for example. He's legitimately too strong for his opponents most of the time. When Doc Ock took over Peter Parker's body, he punched off Scorpion's jaw, and I don't mean
metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or in any other.
I love that freaking movie.
His jaw got punched clean off. But there's a hidden problem that arises when you remind the audience that a character is holding back. When the character holding back eventually gets their lights punched out, it can get annoying because you know they can win the fight easily. Then there's the more obvious problem with characters holding back. It begs the question, why are you not just defeating your enemy instantly? It feels like these characters are just trolling because their reason for holding back is not valid whatsoever. Unless it's for the safety of the person or people around them, the reason is usually based on some selfish desire because they want to fight more. If you, as a functioning person, are genuinely concerned about someone's potential power, why wouldn't you go all out from the beginning to get rid of that possibility? Like, they'll give the villain who can transform and get stronger a chance to transform and win the fight. Half of these guys be having abilities that would dang near one-shot someone, and they use it like one time or not at all. These characters would rather break the will of their opponent than win the fight, cause that makes sense when the world is in danger. And what's this? The villain took advantage of the opening you created, got stronger, and now they're beating the brakes off of you? Shocking. A character holding back will usually bring rise to holes in a story as to why the villain is able to run free after an encounter with one of the strongest characters in the series. And before I move into the next part, if you're enjoying the video so far and you're new, you might as well subscribe. With that being said, the next 3 tropes I'm going to briefly discuss are more so anime exclusive or related tropes. The first of the 3 being when the MC gets hit as a running gag. I think a lot of people dislike this trope because it's never really enjoyable seeing someone get punched for no apparent reason. The MC will just be living their normal life, say something a bit stupid, then get a concussion because of it. But I will say this, sometimes when some of these characters get hit, it's low-key justified. Like when Luffy randomly rockets all of his crewmates, some of them being normal humans, onto the ship in the blink of an eye, I think getting angry is a bit justified. Obviously, the response is not justified every single time, but I think sometimes people underestimate how many times these MCs do something brain-numbingly stupid. The next trope I want to talk about is fan service in general. Not sure if it really counts as a trope, but it really is annoying to see. Take Fire Force, for example. Personally, I think the fan service allegations gets dragged just a bit because Tamaki doesn't really have that much screen time. But when she is on screen, it's almost guaranteed some fan service is afoot. 70% of the scenes she's in, some article of clothing will be coming off, and I'm being dead serious. Take this scene, for example. Look at the scenario, look at the timer. Does this even make sense? Even if we just say it's comedy, are we really laughing about it that much? Like, how do some of these anime scenarios even happen? He slipped, fell, then pulled down her pants. What are we even doing here? I promise you, without any of these scenes, the series will remain the exact same. The trope is really only built for the freaks of the world who enjoy it. Another trope that's especially annoying to come across is when characters start explaining their ability. And while we're at it, let's lump in when people magically just guess the ability of their opponent. Both of them make little to no sense. In any type of fight, your biggest advantage is your opponent not knowing what you're capable of doing. Therefore, if that information gets revealed, you take away a lot of your advantage. So why on earth would these characters reveal their ability? Let me be clear, this trope mainly happens to help the viewer out and actually know what's happening during a fight. However, in universe, it still makes no sense. The only time it does make sense is in a series like Jujutsu Kaisen because revealing your curse technique makes it stronger. But even then, would it not be more beneficial to hit an enemy with an attack that they don't know how to counter? They do this in Bleach a lot. Y'all know I love my examples, so allow me to introduce you to the captain of the 3rd Division, Rose. This guy has a very strong Bankai that if you don't know what to do against it, you'll probably lose. Keep in mind, we are fighting in a war right now, so every battle matters. After popping his...
No, cause I'm with him on that. If Rose would have shut the fuck up, he would have won.
Yeah.
Like,
because he was winning. He was but he explained what his Bankai does.
Right. If Rose would have shut the fuck up, he would have won. That's all I say.
The enemy. Rose has the bright idea to explain all the intricacies of his Bankai. That's what happens to him after that.
Got fucked up. That's what happened.
You revealed your ability and lost because your opponent thought of a way to counter it. Nah, I can't say I saw that one coming. Then honestly, anytime I see a character guess an opponent's abilities off rip, I just call cap. We don't see it very often, but when we do, I just can't believe it that much. Like, the character will get hit with the most basic application of the move and automatically understand how their opponent's ability works. But I do suppose a lot of the characters who guess the opponent's abilities are typically smart characters, so I can't really hate on it that much. The last section of this video has tropes that are flagrantly bad. I'm talking plot twists that are a legitimate stain on a series or a movie. The trope straight more towards bad writing than anything else. The first of these tropes I want to talk about is a plot twist. It's very hard to actually pull off a good and relevant plot twist, and most of the time they aren't executed very well. The point of a plot twist is to suddenly change the conditions or setting of the story to make an even more engaging narrative. However, there are so many times when the sudden change is way too drastic, making the plot more incoherent. For instance, look at 7 Deadly Sins. The ending was already a bit wacky at that point because it was getting dragged out. Then after defeating the main villain, whom we've hyped up for basically the entire series, boom, there's another villain. Boom, there's a betrayal. No, you
fucking pause. Goddamn. No.
I disagree with that for 7 Deadly Sins. I disagree with that for 7 Deadly Sins. Because
okay, why do you disagree?
Because, like, I say it went smoothly with it.
No. No.
Hey, this y'all thing. I didn't watch.
No.
7 Days, so
listen.
I'm listening.
You should have been done with Meliodas' dad. You should have ended it there. I get what you were doing with Kath Pollock, but that shit did not make sense to me. And the reason why I say that is because you wait for the Demon King. You wait for the Demon King to fucking die in order for you to want to eat Arthur and eat everybody because you were the embodiment of chaos. That was dumb. And the reason why I say it was dumb is because you segued that into the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, but we had to wait for different sub stories for the actual story to make sense. Not to mention, you made it seem like Arthur's the evil one when 9 times out of 10 it could be a big ass misunderstanding. Hence why Meliodas or no one else don't try to stop him. Second off, you and you know what? I'm definitely pointing this to Miss Merlin. You get your shit wrecked by Kath Pollock that's been hanging around Arthur this entire time. You get your shit wrecked. You literally created a weakness for a demon that don't even have one, yet this big ass furball is whooping your ass. I don't like that. I don't like this shit at all. I've said my rage for this shit. That Kath Pollock shit was stupid. That was the final villain of 7 Deadly Sins? No. It should have just ended. It should have just ended with Meliodas' dad, with Meliodas and Zeldris' dad. Because
what was the final villain?
Because
you seen the movies?
Because I seen the movie. Because we lost Escanor. Escanor. And in all honesty, you should have just ended it right there. Because there was no point in bringing Kath Pollock. But I get it. You did it so you could segue into Four Knights of the Apocalypse. But still, dog. Or hell, in all honesty, you also could just introduce Kath Pollock in Four Knights of the Apocalypse instead of 7 Deadly Sins. Who cares? I'm just saying, like, bruh. When I read the manga and I saw that shit, I was so mad.
I didn't read the manga. I just watched the show.
I read the manga and I was so mad. I was like, no, we can't end it like this. Oh, but they did. You can play the video now, Devin. Get off your phone.
Moves on from what we assumed to be the final battle into an actual final arc that wasn't really hinted at. It just makes me feel as if the plot twist was only there to check off a box. I know it was to set up the next series, but it just left me more bewildered than anything else. It's even crazier because there are already better plot twists in this series already, so this one just felt even more out of place. There are also the BS plot twists that make you feel genuine anger. Black Zetsu and Shippuden comes to mind immediately. Or how about Lelouch and Euphemia? I'd say that not only classifies as a plot twist, but one that really made no sense of happening. It felt like it was put in to keep the series on pace to a certain goal. The next egregious trope is the shock value death. Sometimes a series will randomly kill off a character suddenly, usually as gruesome as possible to elicit some sort of shock value to the audience. Quite frankly, this trope has never been good. Neji's death in the war arc is a classic exhibit of a sudden character death for no reason. There was literally no reason for him to die. His death merely served as a way to shock the viewer and show how dangerous the war really is for the characters. That being said, it was done poorly and it's pretty hard to defend such a death. Shock value deaths also just feel like an FU to the viewers when it happens so suddenly. If you've seen Justice League Apocalypse War, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The movie essentially started murking a majority of the characters you watched for years across different movies. It was supposed to be the last movie of the universe, but it still doesn't change the fact that all these characters died to try to surprise the audience. Mind you, this movie
they died.
Was always killing off characters every film, so this was out of the ordinary. The one time we saw a bunch of character deaths was the alternate future where basically everything went wrong. There's also the fact that all of these events got reset anyways, so there's little to no reason for any of it happening. However, I will say, shock value can be pulled off correctly depending on the series. For something like AOT, shock value deaths almost feel like a bit of a necessity because it's the reality of the world they live in. But besides those few exceptions, the sudden death of a character holds no value to me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. This next trope is my least favorite one. I despise when characters get dumber for no reason and do things that are out of character. This is called plot-induced stupidity. I feel as if this is different from holding back because holding back is voluntary. Characters getting dumber just feels like the writers need to move the plot forward somehow, so they just give their characters a lobotomy. Goku's already not the brightest, but in his fight versus Super 17, his brain was completely turned off. He's fighting Super 17 and realized that this android may be absorbing or at bare minimum nullifying his ki blast. Kind of like, you know, other androids in the past. This idiot decides to spam even more ki blasts for no reason. Please, I implore everyone watching this video to go watch that fight. Goku uses Vegeta's
We're
technique
not
more than
going to.
Vegeta does. He even launched a 10 times Kamehameha at him. We also have the
I've seen it too
classic
many
cases of
times.
speedsters forgetting that they can run fast. Apparently, Quicksilver doesn't realize he's faster than speeding bullets and that you can actually push someone out of the way without taking their spot yourself. Other speedsters are guilty of being just as dumb. CW Barry. Sidebar, this show really is just cheeks. It really broke the inner child inside of me. Another case that didn't make sense to me at first was Gojo not going after one of the disaster curses in Shibuya. I was so confused as to why he went after the transfigured humans first. Then I actually decided to read what was happening in the scene, and it's a bit more forgivable since they gave some explanation as to why he didn't go after them. The curses probably would have woken up if he attacked them, but it's still kind of shaky because it's Gojo we're talking about. Plot-induced stupidity isn't mutually exclusive to fights, but it's the most clear when it's done in a fight. Oh yeah, I didn't forget about you, Star-Lord. You dumb as bricks too. The next trope I'm gonna discuss is a bit more character specific, and it's
Now that one I
related
do
to Yu-Gi-Oh!
agree
And
with.
honestly, I'm really glad we're all mature enough to start admitting that Yama Yu-Gi was straight up cheating in his series. When I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! For the first time, I didn't know what was happening, so I just followed what the anime was doing. Then I actually took time to learn how to play and started rewatching the original series. This guy was straight up making up rules. This BS he did against Kaiba was straight cap. What do you mean my dragon is decaying from the inside out? This was factually Yugi during half of his duels.
Fine, I'll have Blue Eyes White Dragon attack
Yeah.
over Dark Magician.
Were you not paying attention?
Paying attention to
The
what?
rotation of the moon around the
What?
Earth.
No!
Heart of the Cards is also the most cap ability I've ever seen. I'm supposed to believe that as long as he has faith in his deck, he'll get the card he needs. Imagine someone told you that in real life and they got the card they needed every single time. We'd all assume they're cheating. Remember, this guy's some pharaoh from centuries ago playing card games in the modern era. He's probably using some millennium magic to help him get the cards he needs. And just to top it off,
That's
here's
exactly
Yugi
what
drawing
he's
4
doing.
cards when Pot of Greed only allows him to draw 2 cards. Animation error? I think not. That man is cheating. The second to last trope is, actually, let me just put it like this. No, 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 no. It's a different culture, fine, whatever. But come on, bruh, this is just weird. I don't think I need to talk about how weird it is to portray adults as kids, and then
Moe
even worse,
is
put these
weird.
characters in
Facts.
romantic positions. And to anyone
Facts.
who thinks this image is completely fine because she's an adult, look at this image and tell me you wouldn't have to do a double take. I'm
Why
not
the
spending too
fuck
long
would
on this
you
trope.
do
Let's just
that,
go on to the
Llama?
final one. And this trope is a character getting written out of the story only for them to return at the most convenient time. And this low-key is going to be a preview for a later video I got in the works right now. I just find it very interesting how fans of a certain series will dunk on other series for bringing back a thought to be dead character and not back
Damn,
when
Shaq.
it happens in their own series. I understand that a lot of the time people don't care about narrative as long as their favorite character comes back. And I'm on that train too. I'd be the happiest person alive if they brought back Jiraiya. But when I see people calling it good writing because of foreshadowing, I start to question whether we saw the same thing or not. It's just hard for me to believe certain characters who are essentially in limbo come back at the exact moment needed to save the day. Stories will try to avoid this problem by making it apparent that we don't officially know the whereabouts of said characters. Sure, that makes it make sense on how it happened, but it doesn't mean it was necessarily good. And I'm sure that there are some of you guys that are catching on to what I'm saying here, but I'm gonna leave a lot more of my argument for a later video. Anyways,
Okay.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
But yeah,
That
man,
was
Alright.
an ordeal.
it was.
Man,
That's the word. That's the phrase of the day.
man.
First and foremost, dog, like, I'm sorry, but when he said 7 Deadly Sins, I was like, no, he fucking didn't.
Man, you know what? With your viewpoints, I see what you're talking about, but I still love my show. I still love my show. I
Listen,
still love my show. Mm-mm.
listen, I'm not one of those motherfuckers to where the ending ruins the show for me. I'm not one of them. I'm just saying, like, how it ended was stupid. But the overall show is cool. I don't mind it. And yeah, there's a lot of shit wrong with 7 Deadly Sins. Four Nights the Apocalypse, there's a lot of shit wrong with it. Because the whole Bond and Elaine shit, yeah.
That part. Now that yeah.
And then you got Jericho lusting over his kid. It's
That's the creepy part of anime that they really
and
they really
Moe
should adjust.
and Moe is weird. I'm sorry because the thing about it is like for me, I like thicker women, and clearly anime ain't never gonna catch up to that. And if they do, they're always portrayed as like a lesser character. They're not that important.
Like a dumb character or something.
That and they always and for some reason anime just sees, oh, big T, big ass, that automatically makes you fat. I'm like, I hate that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I hate that so much. That's why I keep telling people I don't have any like waifus or crushes or anything of that nature in anime because it's not proportionate to what I like. So of course I'm not gonna have a waifu in anime. And there's not a lot of them, and I hate it.
Yeah. We got favorite female characters, but as far as
Absolutely.
waifus, nah.
Right. Like 100%. I just
Ugh.
Ew, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you guys don't miss any of our videos. I'm GT, that's Spike Fox, that's Lady A. We are the RealmBreakers. Remember to keep breaking all the realms.
Fucking the multiverse up.
One at a motherfucking time.
Go buy Lady A book and we out here. Peace.
It's damn near free.